is 7:31. We'll call to order the Green Tree Council meeting for Monday, August 4th. Right before this meeting, Borough Council was in an executive session discussing a personnel matter. Can we please have the call to the order?
Ms. Deming? Ms. House?
Here.
Mr. Panza?
Here.
Mr. Ray?
Here.
Ms. Schwartz?
Here.
Mr. Tintori? Ms. Barron?
Here.
Mayor Shank?
Present.
Okay, thank you. Can we have our moment of silence and our pledge? For a moment of silence today, out of all days, today is National Friendship Day. We make a lot of friends in our community of Green Tree each and every day through the volunteer work we do, the schools, through our churches, and just being friendly to our neighbors. I think it is truly one of the best things about Green Tree are the people who live here. So in our intentions today, if we can think about the friends who have lifted us up this year, and those are the ones who've gotten us through some incredibly hard times. And then we'll have our moment, our pledge. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move to the approval of minutes. We have a motion to approve the minutes for July 7th, 2025.
I move.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Motion and a second, no discussion. Can we please all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
Abstention, I was not present.
And one abstention. Thank you very much. Now we can move on to the hearing of citizens. All persons wishing to address general business or an agenda item can be heard at this time. Please come to the podium and state your name and your address, please.
My name's Don Fingers, I live at 60 Terrace Drive, and I have a house on 64 Terrace Drive, and 1 Terrace Drive. My son lives on School Street, 1118 School Street, and my daughter lives over off Ringgold. I want to know what's going on with speed bumps on School Street. Does anybody have any information on that?
I was going to give it on my report.
You can give it now.
Okay. I spoke with David Rooster Company, they're traffic engineers.
Okay.
So specifically asked them about speed bumps.
Humps, speed humps.
Humps. Okay. So they have different terminology, but speed humps. I asked them about speed humps, a number of questions. So first, do you need, it's a private street. We own the street, so we do not need approval from PennDOT. That's first. In regard to traffic control study, I asked whether we need a traffic control study. We do not. So those two things are up. But they do have some concerns about speed humps. And in their concerns, they would want to look into site distances, and would like to look into drainage and driveway locations. So what Rooster Engineering is willing to do, they're willing to come out and do an investigation at no cost. I asked them what would the cost be to look into these issues about, how much asphalt, because there's regulations on speed humps also, how big they can be, how high they can be, and how much you have to dig up. So they would be willing to come out, according to the gentleman I spoke with, for no cost, and tell us what the requirements are. How far away, whether it's going to affect drainage, whether it's going to affect driveway, whether you have enough sight distance, so you got to turn a corner and hit a speed bump. That's what I mean by this. And it would give us a cost estimate. So if council was willing to do that, I think that would be a good place to look at School Street to see whether speed comes, I want to call it.
Listen, I gotta tell you, somebody's gonna get killed, somebody's gonna get hurt, and I don't know how many people can sleep at night if we don't expedite this. Because school was gonna start in a couple more weeks, and that's the school bus stop. And these people are flying through that stop sign. And when you put your hands up, they give you the finger like you're doing something wrong. I mean, I remind all you guys, you have grandkids, you have kids, come play in my yard with your kids at rush hour and see if, I don't know what else to do here.
And so during my report, I'll ask council if they would approve Ms. Miller contact the Rooster Company to come out to look at School Street and give us their recommendations as to speed humps on School Street. So that's where it's at.
So do you know how long this takes?
Whenever they can come out, I would imagine they could come out in a week or so.
How is anybody gonna feel if somebody gets killed over there? I mean, how did you get them on McKenna? I go over to McKenna, it's 5-1, 5 cars on School Street to 1 on McKenna. They have speed humps there.
It was a long process a number of years ago. And anyhow, I'm not gonna sleep if anyone gets killed in the borough.
Right.
And I worry about it all the time. But anyhow, that's where it's at.
We gotta take care of our residents. I mean, if somebody's gonna get killed, and I don't know how people are gonna, to sleep at night. We gotta try to do something quick, especially if a little kid on the school bus stop gets killed. And these people don't care. They wanna get to work, they're late, they wanna get home early, and they fly up, they fly down, and they pay no attention to the stop signs, and there's little kids there.
And I agree, it's, over Allegheny County. I mean, bad all over.
It's a shortcut, they know it, they come up seven UPS trucks in a row, it's a shame that they.
Okay, but anyhow, I told you where it's at.
Mayor, what's the name of that firm?
David E. Wooster, WOOSTER Company, that's who the borough uses.
Are they the same ones that gave us the
The traffic
assessment
study.
of the PennDOT redesign?
I think
Yes,
so.
yes,
That's
we've
the name.
used them for so many years. Sir, I can't recall, do we have, turning restrictions on School Street? Like,
You know, I'll make a turn on Terrace Drive from 4:30 to.
Similar to what is on my street.
Yeah,
okay, on Terrace, but not on School Street itself,
School
just
Street,
prevent
you
the
can go
shortcut.
yep, there's a sign down at the bottom that says no, no through traffic, but they don't care. They know it's a shortcut, they know there's no red lights like at Nobles Town Road and Poplar. You know, and they know they can just fly up there, and when the police come, they do their job, but they see the police where they sit. So they stopped halfway through the intersection, because the police weren't there, they would have just kept on going.
Yeah.
And I was so afraid, and especially with my grandkids, they play there all the time, they're always at the house. These people walk their dogs, and it's a shame, it's a real shame that nothing is done.
We'll make it a priority. We'll stay on it.
Thank you, we can
We will.
I mean, school's in a couple more weeks, young little kids are out there, and then people are late for work. It's a shame. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess that's under your committee, Mr. Ray.
I'm gonna take care of it tonight.
Thank you.
Go ahead. You're fine. Thank you.
Well, I guess the report,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jan Shea, 1210 School. I guess your report is kind of good news, part of what I wanted to mention, but I just wanted to mention 2 small incidents, not small to me, but yesterday my friend and I were going for a bicycle ride, and she was waiting at the bottom of our driveway on the street, waiting for me, and I backed down, and as we started off, a car sped right past both of us to get to the bottom of School Street. That's kind of typical of what happens on School Street. And as I have said before, I have to back my truck out into the street, maybe a foot or 2, to protect myself if I want to work in the front of my yard. I understand it's a shortcut to the parkway. I understand they avoid a light on Poplar. So we've got to do something for that. And I think the speed humps is the first thing. And I also thought if you lower the speed limit to 20, and if there were any policemen that would sit there with the radar, then you could catch people going 31 instead of 36. Just something to slow down. on School Street. So that's, wanted to just back him up also. But thank you very much.
It did inquire also about speed limit signs with the traffic engineer. And for that, we would need to do a traffic study. So I'm not rolling that out, but for either traffic controls at intersections and for speed limit signs, even on private roads, we need to do a traffic study.
Is
So,
that,
go ahead.
does that mean putting up those things that flash the speed that the car is going?
I
Is that a
I
traffic
think that's
sign?
when they have, the wire or like a hose across the road
Okay.
and do a study like that.
Well, they don't do the tubes anymore.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's a digital sign. I believe we have one. And so it does radar. So it counts.
They just did one on School Street a few months ago.
Yeah,
With that
so-
digital, I checked into that also. The digital sign, we do not get any data from it. The reason being, we would need a subscription, 1-year subscription, to get the data from the machine. It would tell you how fast people were going, but the subscription has run out in regard to collecting data from the machine.
I'm sure it's pennies, have we re-engaged with the subscription?
You find that out recently, it's not re-engaged, so I was gonna bring that up to my report too, to see if council is willing to re-engage with the subscription.
Thank you, because it doesn't do anything.
Thank you.
You sit and you see the number flashing because they're going over 25.
We do have that flash, but it's not collecting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Lynn Zapadka from 186 Sheldon Avenue, and a couple of you up there are familiar with my name because I've been emailing the light from Foster Plaza. I know you've seen my pictures. If you're on Facebook, I'm all about Green Tree, and likely seen the comments from a lot of, I don't know if anybody else is here tonight that commented on it. It's horrible. And I did see Mr. Wolf. You're representing him, okay. That he had a very nice post today on Facebook about being the pillar of the community and that they dimmed it down at night because it's purple instead of bright green or bright white. But if you've seen the pictures, it lights up the back of my house. It lights up my neighbor's house. And there are people down on Park Edge commenting, it's horrible, what is that? I can't imagine that nuisance. And the ongoing thing is, right now we have leaves. And I can still see it. I don't even know what it's gonna be like when the leaves are gone. Is there anything that can be done about this? Can it go out at night?
So we cannot, it gets zoned, right? And then I'm aware that, Mr. Wolf has a meeting later this week to come out and observe it by himself, yeah, with you, on Thursday night. Right now, that's where it stands. We have their representatives here tonight. I'm sure that they're going to say something about it. That's typically why people come. So we'll want to listen to them and then we'll see where we go from there.
Well, I'm willing to listen. I'm just not liking to look at it.
For sure, absolutely, we understand.
Thank you.
Christopher Allen, 252 Park Edge, 996 Green Tree Road, and 1000 Green Tree Road. I just want to make a comment about the sign. I don't have a question about it. But I own 2 companies in Green Tree. And when I wanted to put up a 10-foot by 10-foot flat sign on the side of my building, you have no idea what I went through. So how there's not some sort of zoning or ordinance, I know we have no one to enforce it right now, but how there's nothing to stop this, and when I walk my dog, it literally, the entire side of Park Edge is lit up. So just want to make that comment. It was not easy for me to get a 10 by 10 flat sign. How we can have a beacon in Las Vegas on the top of that building is. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. good. Oh, we have one other person. Aldo, do you want to speak first, or do you want Mr. Wolf?
Gentlemen to keep it sort of together, talking together, they're welcome.
Thank you very much. He's yielded the floor to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chad Herring, representing Wolf, and definitely hear your concerns, which is why Mr. Wolf is going to meet with Lynn later this week at 9:30, so we can see firsthand what the experience is like. And not to repeat the Facebook post, but you know, we've been part of this community for 25 years. We own the building on Mansfield. We've employed over 1,000 people over that time in Green Tree, and we want the community to be proud of what we're doing here and what we're trying to build. As a member of this community, so we'll certainly take in all the feedback, look at it for ourselves, and then make adjustments. And then obviously, ultimately, the zoning officer will make the final call. But again, we want this to be something that the community is proud of, not something that's an annoyance or a distraction. So we'll definitely look at it and take it under review. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aldo Arcolati, 143 Sheldon Avenue. I'm here to speak about the need for better activity scheduling, traffic, and parking management at Green Tree Park on Thursdays during the Farmers Market and Summer Concert Series. Specifically, I'm referring to the evening of July 10th, 2025, when the band was Hewlett and Anderson, who have quite a large following. The sponsor that evening was the Rotary Club, and so there were members there from the Rotary Club. Of course, that's a Green Tree, property and Green Tree sponsored event. I estimate there were maybe 300 people in attendance at that concert that night. Also, there was a lobster roll food truck that evening. Lobster rolls are very popular right now, people tell me. And the big problem was that simultaneously, there was a large baseball tournament apparently scheduled that evening at the baseball fields and the parking lots leading to the street going down where the gazebo is, and the concert is held, and the farmers market is held. All that parking area at the top around the ball fields was completely filled. I've never seen anything like it except for during Oktoberfest. So the boroughs should not have allowed all of those things to be scheduled simultaneously without better traffic management, police involvement, and those kind of things. The problem was especially serious during the time frame of 6:30 to 7 o'clock that evening, I would estimate. That's when I came upon the scene. The farmers market is ending at that time, so people were trying to leave the farmers market at the same time people were trying to get to the concert. The parking lots, as I said, were completely full, and people began to park on that road leading between, I think it's the Hemlock 2 ball field and where the gazebo is. And so that road ended up becoming like a one-way road because people were parked. It was a very concerning situation. I saw a potential road rage incident developing where someone was yelling at someone to back their car up. That stretch of road is like 500 feet, and it was bumper to bumper traffic. It would have been impossible to back up unless everyone behind you in the chain was also backing up in 500 feet. It's not it was a driver, it wasn't anyone in any authority position. And there was also a pickup truck, which on the one side of the road, there's a hillside, and a pickup truck was driving on the hillside. And I know it's a pickup truck, so they have better, suspension or whatever you want to call it. But it was traveling at an angle along that, and I was concerned that it might tip over. And if it had tipped over, the situation would have been much worse. There could have been, people injured or killed. So the farmers market committee people were there doing the best they could to direct traffic. but I did not see any police officers during that time doing any kind of traffic control or telling people where to park instead or any of those things. I know in the past, we did have policemen that were at the farmer's market, out even onto Green Tree Road to assist with traffic. An officer could have been posted where the ball field is, where that road is, and tell people don't park here and go somewhere else. There's parking at Aiken School or whatever. I think there needs to be better police coverage, especially when all these events would be scheduled. I would recommend that a band as popular as Hewlett and Anderson not be scheduled at the same time as the baseball tournament, or that the baseball tournament should be scheduled for a day other than a Thursday. There ought to be scheduling coordination between the various departments, athletic association, recreation, so on and so forth. I do also want to mention in the past that police would even have a booth at the farmer's market where they could greet people who've come to the farmer's market and do community relations. And the reason why I mention this is near the time that the concert was going to start, around 8:30 in the evening, when the traffic situation was not that much of a problem because I believe the baseball tournament had wrapped up, the farmer's market was over, and the traffic going down that road to the gazebo would have been coming out because people would be leaving the concert. There weren't any more people at like 8:30 in the evening going still to the concert. So it had sort of turned into a one-way road. At that point, the Green Tree Police were there to hand out tickets to people who were parked along that road. And I believe that that was very poor community relations to hand out tickets in that kind of a situation. The police should have been there at the very beginning and prevented the problem from starting in the first place. And so I think there needs to be better coordination. And I'm sorry to make the comment about the police, but I think it's necessary. I want to just note that I have been very supportive, and I am a proud resident of Green Tree, where I believe we have excellent police department. But I think this showed very bad community relations, particularly in the sense that some of those people who might have gotten tickets might have been people who follow Hewlett and Anderson from, town to town where they perform, and maybe they won't want to come to Green Tree again, and maybe they won't want to come to the farmer's market again, and maybe they don't want to come to the Oktoberfest either. And they'll tell their friends and neighbors, I went to Green Tree, the concert was great, but then I got a ticket. Thank you.
But, sir, I would like to inform you, just so you know, when the farmer's market started, myself, the late mayor, Vince Botto, and the GAA met, and we said not to schedule any baseball games down on lower fields. And I'll bet you today, if we went to the GAA, there's probably not one person that we met with years ago that's still a member of the GAA, and it just seems to got missed that we did think of that when we first started. So I guess we'll have to revisit that and inform them to try to not schedule games.
If I may add, I believe that evening, every single baseball field appeared to be being used.
Yeah.
So it was like a tournament or something.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like one baseball game.
And Mr. Abado foresaw this being a problem early on, and we tried to address it, but you understand how, like, the people in the GAA, they might have not been there, so
Sure.
we'll revisit that.
And if it had been, as I mentioned, if it had been a concert that is not as popular
Yeah,
as Hewlett and Anderson, I don't think it would have been as much of a problem. It still wouldn't have been a good idea, but it would not have been as much of a problem. Thank you very much.
we'll address that.
They were very, very popular. Abraham Jones, 10 Warriors Road. I'm the only one here from Farmers Market. We didn't call the police. Our Mom, I texted you first that we needed help. You got us now. Our acting chief came. He said, we're dealing with non-residents. Don't put up with the abuse we got. And he said, call anytime. He got there as quick as he could. But it was a mess. The GAA did us wrong that night. They were no help. All right? Thank you.
I appreciate that, Ms. Jones.
My only comment is, I would check in with the police on that. We have 2 police a shift in Green Tree, and if they get called to other places, I mean, that could be, someplace else could be a priority, even though this was bad. But we're trying to have our police present more often there when they don't have conflicts to begin with. But I'm glad you did call the police, Luann. Thank you.
Jeff said he got there as quick as he could. He was busy elsewhere.
Right.
But he just couldn't believe what we were trying to deal with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one other comment. On July 30th, I did go and met with Mr. Wolf. They had that light up there, and these gentlemen here at the Pittsburgh Plaza is where they had all their employees. There were about 150 employees with their families and children. When it was lit up, that sign for the initial time, and I did speak with Mr. Wolf, and he did indicate he was going to look into it, and so did the gentleman here. So hopefully this can be resolved, and hopefully I'm available 9:30 on Thursday night, I believe. So I'd like to take a view from it also. So like I said, I personally made contact, and I know Ms. Miller's made contact with Mr. Wolf, and they're working on it. So thank you.
Yeah, so I have done the same as well, so thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay. Okay, we can move on to our new business and committee chair reports. Up first is public safety and equipment, Mr. Wright.
Yeah, so first I'd like to make a subsidiary motion to the agenda to make a resolution for giving borough manager the authority to contract with David Lucer firm to do the free assessment of School Street.
As long as it's not spending any funds on the borough.
And it was brought up in public.
It was brought up in public, so that should be fine.
And you said it's a free assessment, correct?
That's what I was told.
Okay.
And they'll give us an estimate after that.
After that,
But
right?
if it's not incurring any funds to the borough, I don't think you need official council action to authorize Ms. Miller to contact Lucer and get that set up.
I'd like to do that anyways.
Okay.
So he made a motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second.
That puts it on the agenda.
Puts it on the agenda.
So we will need to post an amended agenda tomorrow, have the minutes reflect why this is being added at tonight's meeting.
So then I announce it again.
Sure, we can do an official vote.
Yeah.
now. Yep.
Yeah.
So like, make the motion to pass a resolution to give the borough manager authority to engage, not contract, to engage with David Lucer firm to do a free assessment on School Street and any other streets that may have similar traffic concerns. So maybe that's the motion.
You could,
That's the motion.
correct. And maybe add to that motion, I also spoke with Rooster Engineers about signage for the parks, and they indicated.
We just
That's
do the motion.
separate.
That's a whole
That's
other
discussion.
thing.
Let's
Yeah,
do
let's
this
get a
one.
second first on.
So
Yeah.
that includes School Street and any other.
I'll
streets.
second.
Yes,
Great.
great. We have the motion and the second. Now we can discuss. Yeah, totally, 100% in favor.
But I thought it's not a separate matter, it's about retaining Rooster again for the signage in the park, because Rooster, it would give us suggestions as to location, size of signs, location of signs.
We'll put that on the
wording of
agenda
signs.
next month, because that costs money. We
Oh,
can't do
yes.
subsidiary motion. Put that on the agenda.
That is correct.
They
We'll
would-
talk about that at the
we
next
can, but they would come out and give us advice, so we can bring them out 2 different times.
Yeah.
I was thinking they could come out all out on one occasion, meet with the public. say,
I
listen,
think
It's-
this is the
it's an
times that we
important-
ask them.
It's an important concern. Let's address the important concern this month.
Agreed.
Don't want anything to happen over the next 30 days, especially if school starts. And then next month, we'll have it on the agenda. Public Safety Committee will meet. We'll coordinate with Ms. Miller to, with
agenda, because it's not only those signs, but also, in my report, we talk about, signs, pedestrian signs, crossing signs, and other locations across the borough.
So I'm really glad that we added the other, and any other necessary streets. We've had, a number of people, in the last few years come and speak about their specific street, school for sure, Pocono, Abaco for sure. I live on that street, that's why I remember. And there are a few others. Could we, could the public safety go back through our meeting minutes and identify those plus any other additional ones?
I think the mayor, you have that list because you've already communicated with the police department.
Of the other streets besides school?
I didn't have broken on this, but I think I've roads on this.
Did you have warriors? Because I know there's some warriors as well.
Yeah, there, we've had people come to meetings specifically to address concerns, about the same instance of people cutting through, speeding, yeah.
Email me, like this, street that we should have them look at. So that, I think we should pick, maybe 3 or so to begin with.
I would leave that up to public safety. I think that's public safety's.
Well, I don't know when we'll have a chance to meet this month. We'll meet this month, but I don't know if it'll be before Ms. Miller engages with Booster. I would say School Street, roads, definitely those two have been coming up the past couple of months.
There's another one.
Abaco.
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 Abaco
That's a lot.
Yeah, it has a lot of complaints.
Okay, well, how about those 3?
Let's start with
Because,
those 3.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the other thing,
We do need a formal vote on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah. No, this is just all
All in favor. Let's do all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you very much.
Great. And so tomorrow we have interviews for our police chief. Ms. Miller is here. I'd ask to remind her that we have questions developed. Ms. Barron made some good recommendations on the questions that the Public Safety Committee recommended. Did the borough staff have those available and ready?
I have it ready.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
So we have interviews of 2 candidates tomorrow. The Public Safety Committee met on July 28th. It was a public meeting, live streamed. We had close to 3,000 views on that live stream meeting, so I would encourage the chairs of the other committees to maybe consider that as best practice around transparency. As long as nothing is being spoken about that's confidential, personnel related, I believe all of our meetings should be public. We had great conversation with those that were in attendance, and I'll just read through some of the highlights. The first, and probably the most critical, was around AED devices. Those are the automatic electronic defibrillators that we have in our parks. I asked Ms. Miller to, if she could, assuming this falls under the admin's purview and not the police department's, Mayor, maybe you want to double check that. I just, as I'm talking it, maybe this is more of a police department thing. But we do have AED devices located throughout the borough. I want to make sure that those are, their inspections are current and they're working condition, and that we have them located where they need to be located. We talked about pedestrian crossings, especially the crossing at Green Tree Road and Banbury Lane. This is a school bus crossing without a cross guard. And it's heavily used for access to Hill Park and also to the Nature Center. It's also located on a crest of a hill, creating a blind spot. If we do engage, I'll talk to Ms. Miller about putting that on the agenda for next month, and maybe we'll start another firm. We can look at what technology devices, what signaling, what signs that we can use to ensure that those crossings are safer for our residents. And then we also spoke about the pedestrian crosswalk at Carnahan and Green Tree Road. Now that's a signaling issue there, where the recommendation was to make that a full stop. Right now, I think there is a left turn same time where pedestrians are crossing Carnegie. So the recommendation was to make that a full stop. And so we, I guess, need to reach out to PennDOT for guidance on that. We received multiple complaints during the meeting about speeding and stop sign violations throughout the borough. And that is the topic of tonight already. So I believe it was 2 meetings ago, we increased the fine for overnight parking from $15 to $25. But we want to seek clarity on that fine schedule, because the fines on that schedule, although we didn't vote on the entire schedule, we just voted on the fine for the parking. It doesn't appear to align with the fines that are posted on the park signs. So when you go to a park, there's a sign that says, no biking, skateboarding, dogs, blah, 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 fine $100. On that fee schedule, that fine schedule, it doesn't appear to say $100. So we're trying to seek clarity there to make sure that posted fines match up with the fines in the ordinance. And then we also spoke about overnight parking on roads, which several residents have come to the council meetings and spoke about their concerns there. The committee decided that we're going to draft a plan to consider temporary permitted parking overnight on Rhodes Avenue and seek additional feedback from residents that may live on the roads or where that temporary permitted parking could impact other residents. So we're just going to develop a plan. And then the majority of the conversations was looking at bikes in the parks. And we were looking at that from a lens of safety to the residents. There are a couple of incidents that were brought to our attention where bikes were either on the path at Green Tree Park or coming through the baseball fields, and near misses with collision residents. I think this is something that the planning commission should take a look at. I believe, my personal opinion, that we probably do need maybe a bike specific park somewhere in the community. I believe one young resident came up with the idea online to do a bike path around Hill Park, which would be kind of cool. But I think that would be appropriate for the planning commission to take under consideration. And then in terms of public safety communication, we discussed the importance of better safety communication around safety issues, including potential messaging through the PFO, the GAA, and other community-based organizations where we get further reach. And the other thing that we'll look at is the subscription, new business, I guess, the subscription for the device that we have that monitors traffic but doesn't collect any data, which is a concern.
That's owned by the police department, like that's managed by the police department.
Yes.
I'm asking her, thank you.
Yeah. And I attended the Green Tree Fire Department's annual picnic over at the pool last month. It was well attended by the members of the fire department and their families, and stayed at the pool until about 9 o'clock. It was a good time. That's the end of my report.
I just have one question, and just so that we can have it for the notes. So you mentioned Facebook views. That has a very specific definition. Can you provide that definition, please?
When you go to the video, and I'm not a Facebook expert, when I go to the video, it shows how many views.
Yeah.
For other videos.
So views actually mean a very specific thing, and it is the number of times content, which includes videos, posts, stories, ads, all of that, are displayed on a user's screen, including repeat views by the same person. And it just needs to be 3 seconds. And that for video, the sound does not need to be turned on. Like it's just, when you're scrolling and it appears 3 seconds and then I come back again later and I'm doing it again, that's counting with those views. And since it has a very specific definition, I just wanted to make sure we caught that, because I am interested in how these things, how we can get more faces into our meetings. But that is a very specific metric.
Is there a way to actually track the more engaged views, like in the
Yeah,
analytics?
there's
somewhere?
964 of them right now. That is independent
Yes.
views on the video.
That
Okay,
is,
that's
yes,
what we need.
yeah,
And
there is
I
a
can tell you that-
specific.
yeah, I can tell you any of that information because I don't remember.
So we have,
Yeah.
so we have 1,000 unique views.
Correct.
Typically on our YouTube page, where the videos, like tonight's video, is not live streamed. I know there's difference of opinion. This meeting through the borough is not live streamed. This is a Zoom meeting that you have to log into.
Correct.
Usually we get about anywhere between 0 and 60 views. Every once in a while, we might get 100. If it goes viral, we might get 200. We had 1,000 views on a public safety meeting.
But it is still that very specific time. That is very key. I'm not arguing against it or for it. I just want to be very clear that it has a very specific time and it is 3 seconds that counts with you.
I think
We
it's
also-
great that we can.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's wonderful to keep track of it. But I just, for
We also-
clarification's sake, I think we need to say that.
We also had 56 comments on
Amber, excuse me, how many people are viewing right now on Zoom?
13 in attendance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
it.
you.
If I had time tonight, I was gonna live stream this meeting too. I'm gonna start doing that moving forward until we get the right AV. We've been waiting for the right AV for, it seems like a year now. So I'm just gonna do that with my own devices. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation and community events, Mr. Canza.
Thank you. Since our last meeting, we had the senior picnic, which I was of course out of town, but I heard that people did enjoy it. Our rec committee put that together, another wonderful event that they do. The Oktoberfest committee has been meeting every other week to get prepared for this upcoming Oktoberfest, which of course is September 13th. And it was promised that during the month of August, at one point, Ms. Miller was putting together a joint committee meeting of council's rec committee, our recreational committee, the rec director, and the borough manager, so that we could discuss the overall rec program, discuss if there's any problems, which tonight a problem seems to have been brought up about organizing the farmers market and other field usage. I would like to point out that my committee was in charge of field usage for many, many years. But about 3 or 4 years ago, that was taken away from my recreation committee and put into public facilities. So I no longer, like when I said we could look into it, I really don't have the authority now to meet with GAA. That's the other committee, the Public Parks Committee, that meets with the GAA and I guess develops a grid of field usage or whatever,
I
so,
believe they coordinate that with the borough administration.
okay.
Hmm.
But your committee doesn't meet with the GAA
No,
anymore?
they meet with the borough.
We did it, and I met with them a long time ago.
When
but-
you ran it, yeah.
I did meet with them, yeah.
I started the conversation.
Okay, so anyways, but we are hoping to get this meeting and it seems like people are traveling and,
I thought it was good.
no, Judy just promised me she would schedule it sometime in August.
I think you want to check. I think it's scheduled.
The meeting with the rec director, Judy, is scheduled for August 19th or something. And then after Judy talked to her, she said she would get the whole meeting scheduled altogether. Because they're meeting at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which, you know, is not conducive to people that work. What, we can clear when Judy returns, I guess.
When would you like to have that meeting? I mean, we usually.
It's your committee, so just call the
Just
meeting.
say when you wanna have it.
Yeah, I agree with that, so. I'll wait to confer with Ms. Miller when she returns, and I would like to set up that meeting. And in fact, Mr. Ray and Ms. Foltz, you're both on my committee, so I was just informed tonight that the end of August would work possibly. Okay, very good. And yeah, I'll probably just take it on myself and assign a date and hopefully committee. And I love the way the committee meeting was live streamed in public, so we would probably have that same format.
I can meet next Monday, the 11th.
We're
The
talking
18th.
the last week in August, Mr. Ray.
5th.
How would?
I leave my Mondays open.
Yeah, I
Great,
my
so let's
Mondays
put it on the
open
schedule now.
myself. Would
I
Monday,
think,
August
David, I
25th?
think we might be having a workshop on the 20th.
Really?
Is this a workshop meeting?
No, it's a public committee.
Workshop.
It's a
We
committee
talked
meeting.
about for volunteer doing that. Wasn't that what we discussed? in the
It's not on the
communications
calendar.
committee? No, it wasn't. We were discussing it and gonna propose it.
No, we didn't.
Well, Mr. Hanson has the floor. You can,
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
propose that he can
Uh,
propose the 25th before parks can.
Yeah,
That's
let's,
right.
let's try to put together a, committee meeting, but do it public, for August 25th. And it's just a general discussion of the recreation program in general.
What time?
7, yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Well, since we're a board, are you gonna invite the board?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we aren't invited to Judy's meeting.
See, and that's what I'm saying, that meeting wasn't the same meeting I wanted. Yes, of course, I want the entire recreation board there. Because that's where the feedback, we wanna just have a general fireside chat without the fireplace, that's all. So, Monday, August 25th,
7:00.
7:00.
Thank you. Anything else,
No,
Mr.
that's the
Hanson?
end of my report.
Thank you. All right, communication, engagement, and communication. Ms. Demi was, I have no report from Ms. Demi.
I could just give a brief synopsis. We met, was that last week, 2 weeks ago? And we discussed the possibility of forming committees for the 250th celebration, as well as traffic advisory committee. In the conversations, we talked about how the volunteer process works in Green Tree with the application online. And talked about maybe looking at 2 versions of an application, one that is more specific to committees and committee positions, and one that is more of a general volunteer. So we talked about the possibility of having kind of a volunteer expo per se, with community organizations that are looking for active engagement from volunteers, as well as committees that the borough has, as well as possibly a workshop with the community to get ideas about what areas of engagement and involvement they want to have in the community. So that was the discussion of our meeting. And I think
Well,
that's.
the other thing we talked about was this idea of having Oktoberfest, this 250th birthday,
4th of July, they're all kind of.
4th of July. Well, 4th of July is the birthday, but these are 2 big events that have limited volunteers to organize. And so what I was thinking is, do we do both of them? And if so, how? Or do we do one or the other in terms
And
of
that was part of the
Oktoberfest?
workshop.
In terms of Oktoberfest or this birthday party? Do either one or the other or both, but then we have to.
Right, and that was also the topic at the workshop, correct? That we talked about, that we were discussing.
We also decided that Ms. Miller agreed that the traffic advisory board idea didn't have support. So
Right, but then we can also, and if we have the workshop and people want to discuss ideas of things they would like community volunteers to get engaged in, that would be the time and the avenue with all council present to discuss.
Well, the traffic advisory board's already in effect.
No, it's not.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
What happened to it?
About 12 years ago, it stopped.
Yeah, there's no record of, it doesn't exist.
That was one of the last numbers on
Yeah.
But it did exist.
it, 12 years ago.
12 years ago, yeah.
So, I
We
mean,
met
so that's
maybe
why,
3 times.
that's why I said, so what happened to it? Did someone write a letter resigning it or taking it out of our ordinances?
It's, we can
Right.
find no mention of it in any ordinances.
It existed.
I know,
It
it's on
definitely
it,
did, yeah,
but it,
May not have existed by ordinance.
yes. It doesn't exist in a formal capacity. And it
the
hasn't
thing that
been
exists, you
active.
know what exists that we don't do anymore? Like, in a formal capacity? This falls under your,
The nature.
the junior council
The
person.
junior council person.
And you know
yeah,
what else
that is by
exists?
ordinance.
What about the
Seed.
seed?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about seed?
Yeah,
There
I'm
you go.
bringing it back. I'm ready,
Workshop.
I'm happy to have
See,
it back.
Bring it to
this
the
is
workshop.
why
Yeah.
we really needed a meeting like this, okay? So that's 2 things. And,
Right, that's all I have from our meeting.
Thank you. Finance and Borough Administration. I have no report from Mr. Tintori. Does anyone have a report that he has given to them? No. Who is reading the motions tonight?
probably someone on that committee.
Yep.
You can do it.
Jen will do. Thank you, Ms. House.
Okay, I move that we ratify the actions of the borough manager in the July 2025 invoices from the general fund totaling $58,456.91. Farmers Market Fund totaling $589. Payroll account totaling $468,457.37. And credit card May 2025 totaling $8,529.34.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, we can have an all in favor for this one. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? All right, thank you very much.
I move that we approve the payment of the August 2025 invoices from the general fund totaling $113,712.47. For sewer fund totaling $7,154.90. Sanitary sewer fund totaling $502,812.62. Capital projects fund totaling $11,865.05. And the bond fund totaling $29,412.
Yeah, we have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Okay, can we have an all in favor? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So I emailed about mechanical devices. I noticed I was reviewing the budget. Last year, at least last year and year to date this year, we've received no revenue on mechanical devices. Wondering if that's something that is just become no longer exists, but I'm wondering why it's listed as revenue, but we don't receive any revenue on it.
Yeah, I did ask, I talked with Ms. Miller this morning, and I did ask specifically about that. I am unaware if they exist in the community right now, that they could still. But that is a code enforcement. And last year during the time that they typically would have done that, we did not have a code enforcement officer. And currently, right now, we do not have a current code enforcement officer. So that's where that's why we have that hole. I don't have any other additional information on it. That's what I have right now.
This code enforcement officer's use is getting a little irritated. things that have been under the purview of the borough manager, the code enforcement officer reports to the borough manager just because things are getting done. He was here, we had a code enforcement officer for the last, I don't know, 6 months. We just don't go collect the revenue just because the excuse of him not being here, or a code enforcement officer not being here, is not a good excuse in my opinion. Now, I'm gonna go back in the previous budgets when we did have a code enforcement officer to see if that revenue was collected, and then see if there's a different excuse.
I was gonna look at the same.
We, Dave, Mr. Ray, we looked at this before. We were collecting it, then 1 year, when the prior code enforcement officer came on, forgot to collect it, and then omitted it, and then went out and collected it the following year. So it does exist. However, then now we have a new code enforcement officer and they just did not collect it. So this has happened. If you remember, this happened 4 years ago when there was no money collected in the budget for mechanical devices. We questioned that. And then all of a sudden, the following year, we did receive mechanical devices. And then the last couple of years now, we haven't received mechanical devices.
What is the typical revenue for mechanical
I think
devices line?
it's 7,000.
Yeah, that can be between 6 and 7.
And what is it regarding, what specific items?
It is, go, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, were you gonna explain? Oh, sorry. So mechanical devices are if a business has, like a touch screen type of device that you can play. The thing that makes me think of was like when I was in college, the
So
dive bar had the thing where you could play.
Like a Cherry Master, I think. is
Yeah,
what
or
it's
like
called.
they would have the
Gaming.
ones, the gaming thing where you'd be like, spot the differences, right?
Games of skill.
Yes.
Games of stuff. Okay.
In their place of business.
I thought the cigarette dispensing machines also qualified.
Does anyone still?
If we're not gonna collect it, we should just remove it from the.
Yeah, I agree.
Not kid ourselves and come up.
Yeah. That is what I was told today. I agree with you on.
My other question is, in my opinion, this Finance and Borough Administration Committee is a very important committee. We're spending millions of dollars a year. How often does the Finance Committee meet?
Typically, we meet on a monthly basis. This past month, there were several people traveling.
So how many times have you met this year?
I think 3 or 4 times.
Okay. It just seems like there's never really a report other than approving expenses.
We met to discuss the AI.
That was last year.
That was last.
That was last month.
Was for, not this month, but that was.
I brought up the AI thing last year.
Right, it was under review for a while.
Mhm. No, that's for the next. Okay, that's it.
Thank you very much. All right, infrastructure, Ms. House.
So just to recap some of the ongoing long-term projects, the list of concerns was sent to PennDOT for the I-376 interchange project. They have acknowledged receipt of our list of concerns. We have not received a response for them at this time. The 2025 road program is expected to begin in early August. Notifications of the work schedule will go out via Connect's website, Facebook, as well as residents living on the streets to be paved will receive paper notification via door hanger. Sidewalk improvements to Green Tree Road, the phase 3 construction, contract documents have been completed. Work is expected to start in early fall. The Trumbull Bridge project, final design continues. Kepler Drive sanitary sewer, that project has been complete. There have been excessive rains throughout June and July. We recently resulting in flooding on private property. The borough is working with LSSE to develop solutions to reduce the runoff and flooding, and to also develop ongoing maintenance plans for those areas that are. The Holiday at Mansfield storm line is almost finished. There's a remaining task to be completed, which is the lining of a pipe along Holiday down to Mansfield. This is part of a larger project, which a grant has been submitted for. No awards have been made for that grant submission yet at this time. The Arlo stormwater outfall restoration, the construction is complete. The remaining punch list items were expected to be completed this past weekend. And then as part of the overall MS4 compliance efforts, the Whiskey Run Stream Bank Restoration Project, in addition to the reconstruction of retaining wall in the stream, is expected to begin in September. That work is being paid for by grant proceeds that were received in 2023. This whole project has been delayed due to the deed review process. Mr. Leland continues to work with our communications representatives on the claim for property damage due to the fiber optic property. And then at 358 Mansfield, final steps are underway for a demolition of a house on the property, and a light grant will pay for that demolition. That's the end of my report.
2 questions. The status of the pillar in front of our building.
That's it.
Oh,
I'll be talking about.
infrastructure. I'm so sorry. And then, okay. That's, I'm sorry.
Wait, that's not it. That's,
Public
Yeah.
facilities.
Yeah.
you had another thing?
No.
I have sent 15 emails about this curb to curb ordinance. And again, we're blaming the code enforcement officer for not doing his job. However, this precedes the code enforcement officer. I feel like I'm not getting the response I should. There are borough-owned roads where utilities are opening the streets and then patching the road without going curb to curb. That ordinance was put into place, so we don't have patchwork throughout the borough. There are, and Ms. Miller asked me to identify the list of roads. If I need to do that, I shouldn't have to do that. We should, number one, know which roads have been opened. There's a permitting process. There should be a list that should be easily accessible by the borough manager to say, here are the roads that have been opened, and let's go out and inspect them. Or when a utility asks for a permit, do we go and inspect the work when it's completed? There are major, there's one right in front of the borough building, in fact, where it didn't go curb to curb, and it looks like it's done. And there's no accountability. So who's responsible? This falls on Ms. Miller. I don't have a response. The last response was blaming another employee. Go over on Robin Hood. It's the entire street.
Well, yeah, they should pass it on to at least the infrastructure committee to make them drive around in town.
I've been sending, you're all copied on every email that I sent. You know.
And that's what I'm saying. It
it's
shouldn't be
concern.
public safety committee. It should be infrastructure committee to make that list. But we did enact curb to curb, and it was very insightful to do that.
It was a great idea.
Yeah, so.
So what I can tell you from meeting with Ms. Miller, I meet with her every month, with regard to Green Tree Road, because it's a state road, I don't know if those ordinances follow that rule, but I have not been given any.
It has been inconsistent responses from Ms. Miller in that regard. I am talking about, and I'm concerned about Green Tree Road because past precedent showed that utilities went curb to curb. It's in the emails that I've sent you from PennDOT saying we'll go curb to curb. So that's an issue with PennDOT that we have to negotiate. I'm talking about borough-owned roads where we can dictate through our ordinance that if a utility opens a road, it goes curb to curb. It's clear cut. But somebody has to follow up.
Then to address your concern, why don't we ask the infrastructure committee if they could provide us a list of road openings that are not curb to curb, and then you can address which ones are not. Right?
Ron, they would have to travel around the borough.
Yeah,
I
drive
don't,
around.
that's, to me, that's ridiculous. If I was on that committee, I'd say, go pound salt. There should be a report in that office. That we should know who's opening the
Back in
roads.
the old days, we would drive around the streets of Green Tree and check the condition of the streets to see which one needed paved.
I can understand that, because you're putting eyes on something
Well,
that's
I mean, it's
subjective.
only a one-time.
There should be a report. The utilities have to submit, you saw my emails, and maybe you don't read my emails,
I read every one of your.
and you just don't reply. There should be a report, because the utility has to get a permit to open the road. I just want to see the report.
Yes. I will follow up with Ms. Miller on Monday when she returns, or, when she returns. And ask for a report, where a location of said report should go.
Right, and if it doesn't exist, because I'm being told that it doesn't exist, or it's,
We need to make it exist.
that it's disorganized. That somebody, other than somebody on this day, should go out, drive the roads, get the report, go to utilities, go to the repaving company and say, pave our road. Pretty simple.
And also, I myself, I'm getting tired of the excuse on Green Tree Road. Oh, can't do anything about it, it's a state road. Can't do anything about it, it's a state road. But yet, when it comes to enforcing traffic on it, when the lights go out on it, the sidewalks next to it, it's all on us. But anything else, it's like, oh, we have no control over it, it's a state road. We should clarify that, or be a little stronger on, hey, it's our road that comes through our borough, we should have more say in what goes on. Not that we may get the right, but we should be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to that. That's all.
That's it.
Thank you. Now we have the mayor's report.
No, I can.
Oh my goodness, I'm so
I
sorry.
need to answer Ron's question.
Yes.
Public facilities, Ms. Schwartz.
Borough building damage repairs to the column are scheduled to begin with in the next 2 weeks. We're waiting for insurance to go through the full process there. PPU field dugout repairs, the dugout are scheduled to begin for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Full reconstruction and construction specifications are still under review by LSSE and solicitor. Hope to see them soon. Pool operating schedule, the operating schedule has been updated to reflect hours through Labor Day. Obviously, with kids going back to school, sports camps, it's not fully open every day. They will be closed more than they are open those last few weeks, because most of our workers are busy with getting ready for college, school, and the like. But we'll have it all the way through Labor Day on the weekends, which is great news. The municipal building restroom renovations, they're waiting on a back order heating unit, but it will be completed once that is available. AV improvements, we have been acquiring quotes, and they will be presented to our committee in our next meeting. And
That's the same report the last 3 months.
well, she has them for me now. We're having a
It's the
meeting.
same report the last 3 months. We're waiting. I was really excited tonight because I thought we were gonna get.
I haven't seen them yet. I know that they're there. I haven't seen them yet.
Probably.
As soon as I have them, you guys will know. Raccoons, bees, and wasps, I know that I've seen the emails. There have been multiple reports of bees and wasp nests throughout the borough, as well as some raccoons getting into things. They have required professional support. They're being managed, but as new issues come up, they're continuously being. So if this is wasp season, they tend to start to come out of the ground around August. So if you see something in one of the parks, please let the borough know so they can go and manage it. We don't want anyone getting stung. We don't want any problems. So there's that. We will be meeting an executive after this meeting to discuss the Point Park University field proposal. And then next up, I had the joy to talk with 3 very motivated volunteers of our community who have offered their services to serve on the newly formed International Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board. I told them they're all kind of Batman, because the only time we would call them is if we actually have a hearing, and we hope we never get to that point, that we can resolve things easily. And they are happy to be at our beck and call when necessary. So I'm going to make motions to approve these 3 individuals. They will have staggered terms because we can't start them all on 4 years. So one will be a 4-year term, one will be a 3-year term, and one will be a 2-year term. And at the end of those terms, they can resubmit to stay on the commission. So with that being said, I move that we appoint Jeffrey Diskett to the International Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board for a term to expire on December 31st, 2026.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second discussion.
How many applications did you receive?
We received 4.
And
2 of them were a husband and wife, which the wife graciously said, probably not best to have 2 of us out of 3. And so she stepped back, but I did talk with all 3. They do have experience and backgrounds that would be applicable to them.
so you said I talked to them, did your committee interview them?
I interviewed them. I spoke with them.
Why did the committee, there are practices that the committee interviews appointments.
We don't have the full committee and review for planning commission.
You know, there is no, like it's the public facilities, parks and equipment is its own separate thing. All 3 of them, you could have done it that way. There is practice, but there isn't anything specific about it. But it has become practice in the last few years.
It's been practice for as long as I've been on council. And
I know that
about
we,
6 years ago, then we started including, I know in this case, you can't include the planning commission. But when I was public property,
I
or
included the
planning, that I
planning commission when we
included,
interviewed for
that I
those
included,
positions, yes.
I started that practice to include the planning commission and the zoning hearing board on those appointments. I'm just asking, I think there's a conflict to include the planning commission
Correct.
in these interviews. I'm asking, did your committee interview these candidates?
No, I
So this
didn't.
recommendation is just.
The
coming from
committee
you.
member, they were not available, so I wanted to get them, I wanted to get this set up so we could use our property maintenance code. And being that we only had 3 applicants, and we only had 3 positions, and they were all qualified, I just wanted to get some issues.
we have a motion and a second. We had discussion. This is an all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Any opposed?
I abstain.
Thank you.
And I abstain because the recommendation is coming from one individual, not.
Thank you. Move on to the second.
I move that we appoint Ronald Urban to the International Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board for a term to expire on December 31st, 2027.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Was there at least an attempt to get the committee together?
Yes, Art was traveling and Ron was traveling.
We do realize that we have virtual technology and remote technology, that we can call into meetings.
It
when
took
we're
me a
traveling.
week to get the one individual to call me back. I mean, multiple emails, texts, calls.
This idea of that travel as an excuse is another one that just blows me away, given the technology we have and even the ability to vote when you're halfway across the world.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any nays? Any abstains?
I abstain because the committee didn't interview the candidates.
Thank you. Third motion.
I move that we appoint Greg Piper to the International Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board for a term to expire on December 31st, 2028.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstains?
I abstain because the committee did not interview the candidates.
Thank you.
It's-
Okay, mayor's report.
Okay, thank you. On July 27th, I attended the senior picnic. I attended as a mayor, not as a senior citizen, and that can directly reflect. But in any event, Jen Matthey She did a great job. She's a rec director and she organized it. There were over 100 senior citizens there. And we had prizes. There was some pushback on prizes this year, but I'm happy to report as in past year, Jim Matthew was given permission to get prizes and it worked out real well. In regard to the cemetery, the borough had fixed up the cemetery. There were some stones in precarious positions that Mr. Ray pointed out, and the borough did hire someone. So I walked the cemetery when my grandkids were here, 8 and 10-year-old. We always look for graves to see the earliest date of birth. So we did find a date of birth. The earliest we've found so far is 1807 in Green Tree Cemetery. So there are a lot of early graves there, and there's some recent burials there also. I also went down to 300 Nobletown Road. That was the fire scene. The damage was, as most people know, was pretty extensive down there from the fire. So we should just follow up with the owner just to see how, renovations, or see what the status is on any renovations or tear down in regard to 300 Nobletown Road. Fire company picnic, I apologize, I missed it. My wife was out of town. At 4 o'clock, I worked on that Saturday. I went to Eaton Park. I forgot about it. It was Sunday, so I do apologize for that. I could have gotten a free meal. I know, but shame on me. I did attend the Public Safety Committee meeting that Mr. Ray referred to on July 28th. That's a good way. We interacted with all the citizens. I mean, they just didn't have a certain time to talk. There was back and forth. There was discussion. I'm pushing again that we should have 10 to 12 workshop scheduled meetings a year so that we know that we're going to have them, so we can set aside. And there's always something to discuss, and we could interact with the citizens back and forth. I mean, I don't know if we need hundreds of committees. I think when citizens have a concern about something, they could come to those meetings and bring it up. As Mr. Ray pointed out, the police chief interviews, we have 2 police chief interviews tomorrow. When I went to that light up ceremony for Wolf, we reviewed the Foster 10 from Pittsburgh Plaza Hotels. That brought up another thought here. Pittsburgh Plaza Hotel has been vacant for a time. We being the borough, need to contact the owner just to see if he has any plans. The police report for last month has 3 different incidents at the Pittsburgh Plaza Hotel. So anytime you have a vacant building that big in such a secluded spot, you're looking for trouble. You're looking for incidents. So we really need to contact the owner, see if he has any plans. And it looks like there's some renovation going on, but that should be a priority. Moving on to the next subject, we do have a new police car number 5. It's put in service, so we got that recently. In regard to the question, in regard to posted signs having a certain fine versus the ordinance having a fine, police department, I mean, most of you, they're unaware of what's on the signs. They go by the ordinance. So whatever the ordinance says is what they use. So if the sign says something different, it'd be up to us to try to coordinate it with our ordinance. But the police department does in fact use the ordinance. In regard to traffic, basically reported, going back to signs along the parks, I think in the future we're going to have to use David Rooster Company more often, because it's nothing simple when it comes to traffic control. As I indicated earlier, even when you come to a sign in a park, you have to say what location's best. I mean, I don't know if we have the expertise to decide what location's best. What's the size of the sign? How big a sign is best so people actually can look at it and understand it? And what's the wording on the signs? So at some point, if we want signs along our parks, Wilson Park and different places, Rook Park, I think we're going to need to retain Rooster Company to give us some input there. Another area that I inquired from Rooster was during that workshop, public safety back there in July 27th and 28th, there was a question about reflective stop signs. I asked Rooster about that, but they pointed out there are already reflective to stop signs, but a lot of places, not a lot, some places have reflective bars on the post for the support. So maybe we should look into having reflect on certain intersections. We could ask Rooster about that at some point, about putting reflective signs on posts and supports. Maybe they would stand out a little more. I mean, I hope against hope that people will pay attention to them. And then, as indicated earlier, I think the 3 streets that we're going to look into speed humps would be school roads and Abaco, as soon as Rooster can get out here and do their investigation and tell us what the requirements are for speed humps, and to tell us also what the estimated cost would and their recommendations of locations for such speed humps, how effective they would be. So I believe that is the check here, the end of my report. Thank you.
Mayor, just a refresher, we also talked about solar powered LED stop signs. And I don't know if you mentioned that to Booster or not.
I did not.
Yeah, but we talked about that, and then we figured out there's one in Franklin Park as an example, but where were we talking about it for? What location was that?
Right outside, like near the police department, that stop sign.
Yeah, we talked about the lady, yes, she was concerned that even though there's a stop sign, people don't see it very well, so they do have these, just the outside just blinks red.
I know what you're talking about.
And we thought we'd look into one of them and see what it looks like. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my report, next month is September, we can believe it or not, and Labor Day falls on the first Monday, which just happened to be September 1st. So we as a council will not meet for this meeting until the following Monday. It's just the 8th of September. So mark your calendars for that. Because we will be meeting on the 8th of September, the Sportsman's Bash will have already happened. That is scheduled for Saturday, September 6th. So I believe tickets are still available for that. Information is on the website. That is the one of our volunteer fire department's fundraisers. And I've never been, but I've heard it's a wonderful time for all of those who are interested. I also was unable to come for the first time to the fireman's picnic. I did not forget. I had, my dad is sick and in a home, so we were going to visit him and I was unable to make it. So the other things that are happening by the time we meet, school has started. School for Keystone Oaks begins on the 21st. So a reminder to everyone that we will start to see buses on the roads again, that you do need to come to a stop when the bus is picking and dropping people off. Our crossing guards will be back on the road. They take on a very big job in our community and making sure our students get to school safely. And fall activities will have started up, whether they be here in the borough and at the schools. And it won't have happened by then, but I'll be reminding everyone in September of the library book sale, which is their annual fundraiser that is held here in this building, will be held in October, and they are already looking for volunteers. So if you are interested or you have someone in your life who needs to get volunteer hours for graduation or a confirmation or for a variety of different needs that young people need to get volunteer time for, stopping in the library and inquiring about their volunteers is great. That is the bulk of my report this time. Thank you. The manager's report, I do not have anything. to report.
Well, then I'll make a motion.
Wait, I have a
Wait.
comment.
Okay.
In our ordinance, it says the borough manager shall attend all meetings. A borough manager has 30+ vacation days. Earns $130,000. I think it's unacceptable as the chief administrative officer of this borough not to attend meetings. This is the second meeting this year that she has not attended. As I said earlier, we have the technology where we call in for 2 hours and do the duties of the borough manager as it's outlined. This isn't Dave Ray being a painter, but this is what the ordinance says. Okay? If you're sick, that's a different story. Your vacation, you schedule your vacation. I schedule my vacation around these meetings. If I'm out of town on business, I call it. If I'm on vacation last year in June, I call it. The commitment sometimes is that I'm just going on vacation, I'm gonna miss a meeting. It's really concerning to me, especially with somebody who we're paying to be here. That's never my problem.
Thank you. Before we adjourn, I do need to say on record that council is going into another executive session. We will be discussing personnel issues and contract related issues. So now
I
we
would
make
like
a
to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
motion. Thank you. Second.
So the meeting adjourns at 8:58.